It's the Southern Ohio Copperheads and the Licking County Settlers live from Heath High School. Southern Ohio Copperheads come in with a 15-22 record, and the Licking County Settlers are sitting at 21-17, or actually make that 21-16, trying to avoid going 21-17. As we're already underway as we are in the bottom of the first inning, and the Licking County Settlers are up 3-0 over the Southern Ohio Copperheads. Early on here, the Copperheads, they batted first, and Jordan Long flied out to shortstop. Hodges struck out, and Ratliff flied out to shortstop in a very emphatic manner as he broke the bat.
Yeah, he actually sent the bat over to the shortstop as well. The barrel of the bat came off in one nice big chunk. Ratliff will make a play on that in the inning. But it was a nice day out here today, Sedric. It's a little matinee baseball today.
Of course, and we'll stay with everybody so we can kind of like go over what everything is the second inning recap, or bottom of the first inning recap, rather, was Cade Nellis flying out to Bam Thomas at left field. Nick Lukac was able to reach with a single. Drew Garf reached on an error. Ben Kaplan reached on a single. So those three all got on base, and all three of those guys were able to score. Ben Kaplan scored Nick Lukac on an RBI single. Junpei Ohashi sacrifice fly scored Drew Garf, and Logan White's RBI single scored Ben Kaplan. And then Logan White was retired when Caleb Johnson flied out to right field to retire the side. So we'll go over the lineups real quick as we're getting started here in the top of the second inning now. That's about to be coming up for the Copperheads. Their batting lineup is as followed. Jordan Long, the shortstop, is batting first. Clayton Hodges, the center fielder, is batting second. Kyle Ratliff, the right fielder, is batting third. Mason Adolny is batting cleanup, and he'll be playing third base as usual. Trey Rucker is the designated hitter for today. Bam Thomas is the left fielder, and he's batting sixth. Mitch Class, the first baseman, is batting seventh. Maverick Stallings batting eighth and playing shortstop, and Sebastian Silva is the catcher. And one correction, Jordan Long is playing second base, not shortstop.
For the Licking County Settlers, Cade Nellis playing second base, hitting first. Nick Lukac hitting second, playing short. Drew Garth up there in right field, hitting third. Ben Kaplan behind the plate today, hitting fourth. Junpei Ohashi in the 5 spot, playing the 5 spot over there at third base. Logan White hitting sixth over at third base. Caleb Johnson in the 7 hole. He's the designated hitter today. Twain Cope hitting eighth. He's out in left field. And Adam Crawford hitting ninth.
Here's Mason Adolny to start the top of the second inning. Takes the first pitch for a strike, so the count is 0-1. As on the mound, and it's Michael Lazecki, a pitcher that the Copperheads have seen a lot. And this is the type of day where the Copperheads, again, you got nothing to lose, but the Settlers have everything to lose. If the Settlers fall in this game and the Cincinnati Steam win, the Cincinnati Steam will take their playoff spot, and there will be no playoffs for Licking County. But if the Licking County Settlers win or the Cincinnati Steam lose, the Settlers will be in the playoffs and will continue playing baseball throughout this summer as we see a swing and miss on strike number 2 from Mason Adolny, and he goes down on strikes.
It's a win-and-get-in situation for the Licking County Settlers. So this team already starting off hot, going up in this one 3-0 in the first inning. But if any of these other games against the Settlers, Sedric, are a testament to both of these teams, this game is far from over.
Far from over indeed. The last time we saw these two teams play, the Copperheads took a 10-3 lead, and the Licking County Settlers came back to 17 as Trey Rucker flies one out to center field. It's going back towards the wall, and the play is made by the right fielder as Drew Garf moved over from his position to make the catch. And that is 2 down in the inning as the Copperheads have had every batter retired, and they have no hits so far. But they're going to be looking for that first hit with Bam Thomas, who had a pretty solid day yesterday against the Sandusky Bay Ice Haulers, one of his best performances on the year. Had a hit by pitch as well as 2 singles, so finished the day 2 for 3 and got on base 3 times.
Yeah, it was a really productive day for Bam yesterday, multi-hit day, and always seemed to get the hit at the right time. He was the one that broke the hitless streak for the Copperheads in the middle of that game, and played really well, came up in a couple of really big spots to kind of revamp the Copperheads' momentum a little bit, if you will say. I mean, with a crowd like that yesterday, though, Sedric, the momentum seemed to always be in the Copperheads' favor.
Yeah, but GLSCL record crowd for this season. You guys at Boverin really showed out in quite a fantastic way as got a little bit more of a chiller atmosphere here at Heath High School, but there's still a lot of Settlers fans in the building to try to cheer on their team to get them into the playoffs, as Bam Thomas will see the 0-2 pitch from Lazecki, and he fouls it off and will remain at 0-2 as the Copperheads and Settlers are meeting for the 9th time this season. Copperheads have not fared well, going 1-7. Their one win, though, was very big as they won 11-5, and Sam Maudsley did pitch in that game, who is the starting pitcher today for the Southern Ohio Copperheads. And we're going to be due to see a whole mix of pitchers as the Copperheads are a little undermanned right now. Only about 15 players, according to Trevor Stevens, are left. So it ought to be interesting as Bam Thomas takes the 0-2 low, or make that the 1-2 low. So now the count is 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Copperheads down 3-0 here on the road at Heath High School to the Licking County Settlers.
Going to see a couple different guys talking to Mason Nadolny before the game as well. Looks like he'll get an inning as well. He said he got a chance to pitch at Concordia St. Paul this year as well. So it'll be fun to see some new guys out there on the mound. Of course, Jordan Long going to get a chance to get out there and sling it, as well as potentially Clayton Hodges going to go out there. We'll see Andrew Lyon before he takes off to go back home.
Yeah, he said he's going to drive 15 hours straight to Texas after this game. I mean, that takes guts.
That's the tough thing about playing summer ball, and being away, especially when you don't live in the area. A couple of these guys, pretty close to home. But for a lot of these guys coming from different parts of the country and being away from your family all summer long, it gets tough. So these guys are eager to get back home and be with their family, be with their friends before they ultimately head back to whatever university they're playing for, wherever they attend, as school starts in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's really right around the corner here as we'll have our next major season coming up. It'll be football season. Of course, it always goes football, got your basketball season, then you got your baseball season, and then baseball season goes quite long, which is great because it leads right into football season coming up next. So we'll be excited for all the action with high school football, college football, whether it's for the Ohio Bobcats or the Athens Bulldogs or any of the other teams out in the TVC. It's going to be very exciting, as well as our respective NFL teams. I'm sure a lot of you Copperhead fans are also big-time Joe Burrow fans, and the Bengals will try to go and win the Super Bowl this year. They came very close to being able to do that. And for our respective teams that didn't make the playoffs, Lions hoping to make the playoffs, Ravens hoping to make the playoffs. We'll see.
Let's not get into playoff talk yet, Sedric. My Detroit Lions, if they win, I think if they win 6 or 7 games this year, I'll call that a successful season. Got some young guys that going to be doing good things this year, of course. Aiden Hutchinson, potential Rookie of the Year candidate, and then, of course, Jamison Williams, when he's healthy, you know what kind of playmaker he is. Ohio State fans or Alabama fans will remember the kind of things that he was able to do, but big things looking up for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And again, playoff talk about the NFL, of course, is in constant motion, but now we got playoff talk in terms of the GLSCL as the Settlers will look to extend their lead. It'll be Dwayne Cope leading off the bottom of the second inning. Settlers up 3-0 as Dwayne Cope takes the first pitch from the new pitcher, Matthew Nolan, for a ball. So the count is 1-0 as Matthew Nolan did get to pitch against the Settlers the last time he was out here in the 2010 loss for the Copperheads. And again, a little bit of ups and downs for the whole pitching staff that day, as it was a very chaotic day, and I think that really threw the game out of whack.
Yeah, still trying to actually comprehend what's been going on or what went on during that game. We'll have to go back and watch the recording, and again, apologize for not having that game. It was, as we talked about, the chaotic not only on the field, but chaotic with our technology. So we're doing a lot of things behind the scenes to potentially make the streaming aspect of it more consistent for the crew that comes in next year. Of course, I will not be coming back next year, taking a year off to go see the world. So we're still working behind the scenes to try and make sure that the group that comes in next doesn't have to deal with, some of the technological woes that you and I had to deal with, Sedric.
It is, and we have so many great young broadcasters now that I'm running Ohio Bobcat TV alongside Chloe G. Workman It's going to be super exciting to have a lot of younger broadcasters coming in and may have the opportunity to be able to have the great experience we did with the Southern Ohio Copperheads. It was an absolute joy. As the runner will go, Dwayne Cope slides into the plate, and he is safe. It's a stolen base for the Licking County Settlers as Adam Crawford is now up.
Quick off the bag, Dwayne Cope was. That was, I mean, by the time Silva even got the ball, he was halfway there. Good throw from Silva, but.
And he has to be exhausted after playing so many games in such a short period of time. 48-hour span, you've played 4 games. Doubleheader, night game, 9 innings, and then now playing here in the morning, a little bit of a body clock game as the players had to get on the bus and leave at 10 a.m., which you're like, oh, 10 a.m., that's not too early. Think about all those times maybe that you've had to head to church early in the morning after maybe having a fun Saturday night or a game the night before or watching college football the night before, for example. It can be very exhausting, and these players, again, it's impressive that they've been able to wake up in the morning and they're able to come out here and give it everything they got, especially Sebastian Silva.
Guys went out and had some responsible fun last night, enjoying one of their last nights in Athens. It was a big win, too, and a much-deserved celebration for the guys that stuck it out, put on a show for that crowd of almost 2,500 people last night. I mean, we were talking about it when we were leaving the stadium last night. And there really was not an empty seat in the house last night.
Nope, not at all. Standing room only, as you mentioned a couple of times on the broadcast, Tim. It was impressive as Adam Crawford walks, and that'll take us back to the top of the order. Caden Ellis is now up with 2 runners on. Take the first pitch up high from Matthew Nolan for ball number 1. It's the Copperheads trail 3-0 as Nick Lukac, Drew Garf, and Ben Kaplan all scored in this game. Copperheads have gone down 1-2-3 for back-to-back innings. Nolan delivers the 1-0. It skips across the ground, bounces off of Silva. Dwayne Cope decides to stay at second base, not to test his luck. And the count is 2-0, reflecting the 2-0 on Nolan's jersey as he'll be able to play out his last game, and then he'll be going back north of the border after this as he is from Canada.
TJ Landing coming out now to just have a quick word with him, make sure everything's fine. No troubles yet, just want to make sure he settles in and throws strikes. We've seen Nolan be able to come in and throw those strikes. Has 3 strikeouts through 7 innings pitched this season. So, again, a bit of an up-and-down performance from him this year. But we have seen the improvement, obviously, since his first outing, where I believe he only went maybe 2/3 of an inning in his first appearance, and now has made it through made it through quite a few innings, his last performance. And so a guy that got a lot of benefit out of coming out here to play summer league ball, getting ready to go back to Olivet Nazarene in the fall.
So Copperheads rocking the green uniforms today on your screen. Settlers wearing navy. One of my biggest gripes with this series, it always seems like the Copperheads wear green when the Settlers wear blue, and when the Settlers wear red, the Copperheads wear orange. You can't see the contrast. So there'll be a chopper out to Jordan Long. Jordan Long passes it off to Maverick Stallings at second base for 1 out, and he throws it to Mitch Class for out number 2. That's a double play for your Copperheads.
4-6-3 double play. Jordan Long, Maverick Stallings, and Mitch Class linking up on that. Jordan Long taking advantage of his chance to play. Of course, we'll see him on the mound. Probably slide Carson Shepard in there at second when that happens. But Long very proud of his 0 ERA. We talked to him at the at the hitting clinic, and he was like, man, he's like, I better not give up a run. He's like, I want to keep that 0 ERA. Well, you better get a couple strikeouts then.
Yeah, it'd be quite a sick flex to be able to come back, being a position player at Notre Dame College and be able to have that to your name. As we'll see a hit from Nick Lukac. That's going to be an RBI single going into right center field. Clayton Hodges ends up throwing it back into the infield, but that's Dwayne Cope coming across. And that is the 4th run of the day for the Licking County Settlers. As, again, if they win, they are in the playoffs, and they'll be able to continue as they've been a pretty successful team. But what it really comes down to has been this Copperhead Settlers series. Their dominance has been the reason why they're in this playoff situation.
Yeah, playing 9 games against the Copperheads and taking 7 of them so far has really helped propel them up into that #1 spot. There was a stretch where, they were the only team that the 2 of us faced. We were the only matchup for about 4 or 5 days where it was the only series that was played between these two teams. So lots of familiarity. These guys know each other very well. We see, obviously, all the coaches and players kind of talking it up in between the innings, before the game, and ultimately after the game as well.
It is. It also helps we have our friends that are broadcasters there with Cade Williamson, Andrew Allison. Of course, I know you got to hang out with Andrew after the game. Also, Cade will be coming up to work with the radio station, a good friend of me and my roommate back at OU, and big part of our broadcasting program as well. So, again, those connections, they go everywhere. And it's not just with the broadcaster, but with the players. There's a ground ball right over to Maverick Stallings, who steps on the bag for out number 3. So the Copperheads yield 1, but do retire the side as they'll get a chance to bat when we come back in the top of the 3rd. You're listening to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the top of the 3rd inning here at Heath High School, home to the Bulldogs usually, but today it's the home to the Licking County Settlers, who are nursing a 4-0 lead over the Southern Ohio Copperheads. Copperheads are up to bat, and it'll be Mitch Class leading off the inning, takes the first pitch that goes outside for ball number 1. As the count is 1-0. To Mitch Class, Copperheads still looking for hit number 1 of the day, as Lazicki has been dealing. As we'll see a play that goes out to the second baseman, Montgomery. Actually, check that. That's yesterday's players. Nellis makes the play, gives it out to Logan White for out number 1. Sometimes you just got to turn the page, Tim, and I was not able to turn the page right there, and I called the wrong name.
Still had your notes set up from last night's game. Maverick Stallings will come up now.
And he takes the first pitch outside for ball number 1. So Copperheads have had 7 straight batters retire. Maverick Stallings will try to be the first one on, and he is, as he takes the hit by pitch right to the inner arm. I believe that's Stallings' first one of the year. We've seen Carson Shepard take a ton, as well as Josh Steidel, Sebastian Silva, but now Maverick Stallings joining the dodgeball game here at Heath High School.
I'm digging through the stat sheet right now. I believe you're correct, Sedric, but as soon as it loads, I'll give the update on that.
Now Sebastian Silva is up, the catcher, who's been pretty solid coming through in the last couple of games, and despite his fatigue, being able to continue fighting and continue grinding, as he came up with a single, an RBI single to be exact, in the last game against the Sandusky Bay Ice Haulers, a very memorable one there at Bob Wren Stadium, where the Copperheads won 6-5, where they were kind of skating on thin ice, for lack of a better term, against the Sandusky Ice Haulers for most of that game, but they did not fall through into that river, and they were able to hold on. They started off up 6-1 by the end of the first inning, and they were able to stave off Sandusky Bay and win 6-5. Sandusky fell to a .500 record for the season. That was their last game. Copperhead still trying to get to 16 wins on the year, as the 1-1 pitch is over the plate for a ball. It looked like it was a little bit outside, I guess, as we have a little bit of an interesting perspective from where we are. If it's anywhere outside, especially when you have a lefty batting, it's hard to tell. See a little bit of a check swing as it looks like Maverick Stallings will go, and he will make it safely without a throw. That's a stolen base for Maverick Stallings, and he gets a little bit of a cheer from the bullpen. He gives them a nod, and again, this game is all about having fun, Tim.
It was, and that was Stallings' first hit by pitch on the year. Only a couple guys, actually only one guy left on the team that does not have a hit by pitch, and that's Mitch Klass. Only guy. Oh, and Mason Nadolny as well. Those two guys. But then you look down the hit by pitch sheet, lots of 2s, 3s, and then, of course, Carson Shepard with 13 hit by pitches.
Whew. Well, given that both Mitch and Mason are 6'4", I don't think a lot of pitchers will want to test those two. As you'll see a pass ball, that will be ball number 4, and Maverick Stallings takes advantage of it. Now he's in scoring position at third base, gets a little bit of a high five from Coach T.J. Lenning, and the Copperheads have runners on the corners as Silva walks.
Maverick Stallings worn out as well. Played an absolute marathon since joining the team. I don't think he's had any days off, maybe 1 or 2.
I think 2 at most.
I mean, guy that came in after the first or second week of the year and has played absolutely fantastic to end out the year, starting to come into his own and been on a marathon. One of those guys, higher amounts of games total on the team. He's played in 24 games. But of course, that number with a bit of an asterisk next to it is he didn't join the team until, as I said, about a week and a half into the year.
Yeah, and he's been solid. He's a player that was needed on the infield, especially now that Gunnar Aldridge had to report back to Michigan State a little bit early. It's great to be able to have Maverick Stallings, key piece of depth, as well as, of course, Jordan Long, Carson Shepard, and then, of course, Mason Nadolny, Mitch Klass, sometimes Bam Thomas as well, and even Josh Steidel jumping in have all been focal points of the infield as Jordan Long is now up and facing a 1-2 count. With 1 down in the inning, 2 runners on, Jordan Long swings, fouls it backwards, so remain at 1-2. Stallings is on third, Sebastian Silva on first. 1 was by a hit by pitch. That's how Maverick Stallings reached, and Silva walked.
Matt Friesen, another guy, played the catcher position primarily, but also got a chance to play in the infield a little bit. And after talking with him, I believe that's what he'll be playing next year, or his goal is to primarily play the infield this upcoming season.
Interesting. And that's good that players can kind of start to test that, because it can be tough on your college roster to be like, hey, I just want to switch positions, especially if you've been recruited for a specific position. So to be able to have that practice in the summer is key, as Jordan Long swings and misses on Lazecki's pitch, and that's going to be strike number 3. So 2 down in the inning as Jordan Long goes down on strikes. That's strikeout number 4 for Lazecki as he's starting to stack it up, trying to get one more solid start. And if the Settlers do make the playoffs, Lazecki will be a guy that they will depend on against the Hamilton Joes. The Settlers did beat the Hamilton Joes in their series 3-2, but it was a very, very close series where the road team tended to do better. And if the Settlers win this, they will have the number 1 seed, so that could bode well or maybe not, given how the series has gone on. As Clayton Hodges is now up with 2 runners on, 2 outs, and fouls off the first pitch. So count is 0-1.
Going to be really difficult for whoever it is that has to play the Hamilton Joes come playoff time, as the Hamilton Joes have about 6 or 7 guys that can come out and give them 7 solid innings and play really well.
It is. You just look up and down the lineup. You see Dome, you see Lazier, those types of people. And then even there, you got Wilsbach coming in relief, and he's absolutely nasty with almost a submarine-type motion with his pitches. Oh, my
Clay
goodness.
Brock, another one of those guys, too, that not one of their premier guys, but another guy that gave the Copperheads all kinds of trouble down there in Hamilton. Clay Brock, a positional player, too, I believe, so gets it done on both sides.
Yeah, and I'm excited that the Copperheads were at least able to steal 1 from the Hamilton Joes in that series. They won the first game as the 1-2 pitch is taken for strike number 3. He got Clayton Hodges looking. So the Copperheads leave 2 on as they are down 4-0 going into the bottom of the 3rd inning. You're listening to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the bottom of the third inning here at Heath High School, where the Copperheads trail 4-0 over the Licking County Settlers. As we have a new pitcher, we're expecting to see a new pitcher every single inning for this 9-inning affair. As Herner is now on the mound, Dylan Herner takes the field, and he'll do his practice pitches. Dylan Herner's had a couple of appearances this year, and he's getting his final one here as a Southern Ohio Copperhead. And we'll see how he does in this final matchup. He'll have to go against the 4, 5, and 6 in the lineup for the Settlers, and Ben Kaplan, Junpei Ohashi, and Logan White. As the Copperheads' worst record in franchise history was 16-22 in, I believe, 2005 or 2004. I do have it somewhere in my notes. But yeah, if the Copperheads win today, they at least won't have the lowest record in franchise history. But despite whatever the record goes, the Copperheads won a lot of important games, and they won a lot of the big home games. And I think I'd take that over going, 22-16 or 23-16, but losing all those big home games.
Yeah, it's been a very successful year for the organization, I think. And we've talked about it a lot. I know Chris talked about it a ton during his interview that we gave him for the podcast that obviously the fans will get to listen to a little bit later. But Chris talked a lot about just how important this season was for revitalizing not only an organization that took 2 years off from a pandemic or due to the pandemic, but just a team that, brings together the community in so many different ways. And to be able to keep the ticket prices super low this year and make it available, bring in all these big groups and special events. And while the product was not always the greatest, you look back at some of the really big home games we had, Turnip Gold Night, the home opener, the home finale, like some of these really big games, really important days for the community. The Copperheads were able to get it done on the field.
The 1-2 is chopped, and looking at the coach. See, every time we see a team, you always see the assistant coaches or different players being able to make plays as first base coaches and third base coaches, and we see it there as now Ben Kaplan is facing a 1-2 count as Dylan Herner trying to pick up his first K of the day, sets up on the mound, deals the pitch, hips across the ground for ball number 2. So it's 2-2 with nobody on, nobody out here in the bottom of the third inning. Copperheads trailing 4-0 over the Licking County Settlers, trying to win their second game against the Settlers and make the series the same number as Kaplan, 2-7. Dylan Herner deals the pitch, swung on and missed for strike number 3. Herner picking up his first strikeout of the day.
Good pitch, worked him low and then worked him back up towards the top of the zone. Off speed there in the middle and then blew that one by him. Good combination of pitches there from Dylan Herner.
Now here comes Junpei Ohashi. Junpei Ohashi had a sacrifice fly back in the first inning, picking up the RBI, and he was able to score his teammate Drew Garf for the second run of the day for the Settlers, as Dylan Herner's first pitch to Ohashi skips across the ground into the glove of Silva for ball number 1. So the count is 1-0 here on a 90-degree day, but the breeze and the clouds have made it feel a lot cooler. There's some 90-degree days where, oh my gosh, it seems so hot and it seems so muggy and it's just awful. This is the type of 90 degrees where it's really workable. It's something that you'd like to see on a nice Sunday.
It is. Nice breeze rolling through and underneath this beautiful tent. Keep us cool as well.
The 1-1 to Ohashi, thrown over the plate for strike number 2. So the count is 1-2 with one down in the inning, nobody on. Copperheads trailing 4-0 here in the bottom of the third. As we're appreciative of TJ as well as Jay Morrow of Heath High School. TJ, the GM of the Settlers, to specify, because we also have a head coach named TJ, as we see Junpei Ohashi swing and miss for strike number 3. Dylan Herner is out here dealing with his second strikeout of the day.
Dylan Herner, another guy that improved just so much throughout this season. We saw in his first couple outings just get eaten up, and then now is really settled in to his relief role. 12 2/3 innings pitched on the year, now 13 1/3 with that was his 10th strikeout of the year. So really solid from the guy from Edison State.
Herner's first pitch to Logan White. We'll skip across the ground for ball number 1. Is Logan White, last time he was up, he hit an RBI single, scoring Ben Kaplan for run number 3 of the day for the Licking County Settlers. As we'll see the 1-0 pitch as the clouds start to roll in. And Logan White chops it right over to the Copperhead dugout. It ricochets, and Mason Nadolny fields it pretty well. And that will be strike number 1. So it's 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, nobody on. Copperheads trailing 4-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. We apologize for starting late. Streamlabs, our streaming service, had to get an update, and you know how those updates go, as it was 4 out of 53, and then it was 10 out of 53, and then when it got to 49 out of 53, you started to smile like, oh, this thing is downloading pretty quick. And what does it do, Tim? It sits there for about 5 to 10 minutes on 49 to 53 as the game starts.
So. Well, Sedric, you know how technology works. If you think it's moving fast and then you start to pay attention to it more, it just seems like it's taking forever, whether it does or not. But just sitting there staring at the progress bar, you're like, oh my goodness, when is this gonna end?
Unfortunately, the progress did end. Is on the game right now, Dylan Herner has a 3-1 count to Logan White as he'll deliver 3-1 pitch, trying to work his way back into a full count as Herner deals. It'll be chopped and just go foul, as they won't say it was fair, as Mason Nadolny was ready to make that throw out to his teammate here as a Copperhead, as well as at Concordia, as well as in high school, Mitch Class. The Minnesota boys, they made their presence known on this squad, as we had a lot of northern representation. Matthew Nolan from Canada, of course. You had Mason Nadolny and Mitch Class from Minnesota, and then also Ian Crump from South Dakota. So good
Carson
mix
Shepard from Wisconsin, Matt Friesen from out that direction as well. Gunnar Aldrich, Northern Michigan. Lots of northern representation.
It is. We can't also forget Big Alaska, Sam Maudsley from up there in the north of the north. As we'll see a ground out as Logan White hit it to Maverick Stallings, who threw it out to Mitch Class for the final out of the inning. That's out number 3. Dylan Herner, very impressive in his inning. 2 strikeouts and a ground out. That's the way to end the season if we'll see a new pitcher. We're going to have some position players going today. We'll have a little bit of everything. You said Nadolny was going to come out and pitch. Maybe Hodges will get out there. Jordan Long for sure will be out there. So it's really exciting. Andrew Lyon also due to pitch. So it'll be exciting to see these guys. And I think everybody in the dugout's going to get super hyped for whatever plays happen, especially if one of the position players get a strikeout. Oh, they will be going crazy.
These guys just out here having fun today. Obviously, no, there's nothing to play for. Would absolutely love to beat this Licking County Settlers team, a team that has given them issues all year. If you want to, our one probably real rival in the league, if you think about just the matchups and the way these games have played out all year, a team that is always intense when the two teams get to match up.
It most certainly is as we begin the top of the 4th inning, as Kyle Ratliff will lead off, followed by Mason Nadolny and Trey Rucker, the 3, 4, 5 in the order. And also, even though we haven't played the Joes in a long time, we haven't played the Joes in 2 weeks now, Hamilton Joes also kind of created a good rivalry with the Copperheads, especially since the Copperheads won the first game on the road, as Kyle Ratliff takes the first pitch over the plate for strike number 1. Ratliff had a fly out to shortstop the last time that he was up. As Dylan Herner is right next to us in the booth. He pitched a great game right there. Solid inning, as Kyle Ratliff is going to hit it right out to the first baseman, Logan White, and he'll step on the bag for out number 1. So Kyle Ratliff goes down as his streak of hits in every game in the month of July ended. Sandusky Bay Ice Haulers pretty much refused to throw him anything hittable as they walked him 3 times.
Yeah, really disappointing. If you're Kyle Ratliff, he was seeing the ball really well, but just like quite literally was not. Obviously, all the Copperheads fans in attendance saw this last night, but they weren't throwing him anything. I mean, all the up high, down low, outside, like not even giving him a chance to really swing at anything, because that game was so tight, so competitive the entire game, and really stalled the Copperheads offense a little bit too, I think.
Yeah, I think the Ice Haulers, they had enough. They know what Kyle Ratliff's capable of. In their first game, Kyle Ratliff, literally the first pitch thrown to him, he hit it out of the park in left field, and it was pretty insane. And then he hit 2 more home runs. As Mason Nadolny's able to get a hit. It's going out to left field. Dwayne Cope fields it, but not before Mason Nadolny can make it to first base. That is the first hit of the day for the Copperheads, and they have a 1 runner on here in the top of the 4th inning.
Poke that one out. Past the shortstop, Lukac, out there into shallow left field.
Trey Rucker's up. He had a deep fly out to Drew Garth at right field, and now take the first pitch over the plate for strike number 1. So the count is 0-1 with one runner on. Mason Nadolny picked up the single, and there's 1 gone in the inning as Lezecki fires his second pitch. This time it is inside for ball number 1. As Trey Rucker, when it comes to opportune hitting, he tends to do very, very well in those sort of situations. He's really stacked up the RBI total as of lately, as he'll foul off the 1-1, and the count is now 1-2. And again, just whenever there are runners in scoring position, it always seems like Trey Rucker has come through. And again, he's a very talented player, and he was recognized for that a lot in high school and being able to compete at IMG Academy against some of the stiffest competition, not only in your own school, but also in the teams that you'll play. As there's an error as the catcher Kaplan overshot Logan White at first base. Mason Nadolny takes advantage, and he steals second off of the error.
Puts him in scoring position now for Trey Rucker, trying to get RBI number 20. Still looking for that elusive home run, and if he's going to get one, Sedric, this obviously he's only got today left to try, but this is a ballpark you're going to do it in. 310 to both corners, 385 to dead center field, so he's got some options here.
It is. This time he'll ground it over to second base. There's going to be no play at second base, but there will be a play thrown at first base, and it's an exceptional one as Caden Ellis came from his position, was able to cover second base and throw that ball to Logan White on a beeline right before Trey Rucker could make it. And he had to do that very quickly as Trey Rucker has some great speed. So Trey Rucker goes down, but Mason Nadolny advances to third. With 2 outs in the inning, Bam Thomas will get an opportunity to try to drive in the first run of the day for the Southern Ohio Copperheads.
Looking for his 6th RBI.
Bam Thomas will sky it foul. Looks like a fan will end up grabbing that ball and toss it back into the infield. Nice, peaceful, peaceful Sunday. It feels very serene out here. It's one of the ways you can really love baseball. There's always the exciting moments as we'll see a chopper out to Logan White, and it gets underneath his legs. That's going to be an RBI for Bam Thomas, picking up the RBI single, scoring Mason Nadolny. It's a 4-1 game here on the road at Heath High School. Copperheads on the board.
They'll score that one an error, but hard enough hit ball from Bam Thomas that the first baseman, Logan White, not able to hold on to it. And Copperheads will take what they can get at this point, closing the gap in this one, now only a 3-run game.
Darn, Bam Thomas robbed out of an RBI as it was a well-hit ball, but the Copperheads will take the 1 run no matter what, as we'll update that on the scoreboard for you. Boom, 4-1, as Lezecki will pitch now to Mitch Class with 1 runner aboard in Bam Thomas, who's come through at pretty good times for the Copperheads as of lately, as the 1-0-1 pitch is outside, so the count is evened up. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning. Copperheads put up their first run of the day, and now Bam Thomas will go as there's a swing and miss for the strike, and there won't be a throw as Bam Thomas is safe at second base.
Stolen base for Bam Thomas. And his, where's he at here? 5th stolen base of the year.
The 1-2 to Class is going to be chopped over, and it's going to the shortstop, Nick Lukac. Nick Lukac throws it out there to first base to Logan White, and it is in time, and it retires the side. But not before the Copperheads could put up 1 run. It was Bam Thomas getting a hit where Logan White was unable to field it cleanly, picking up the error, and Mason Nadolny was the benefactor coming across the plate for the run, as the score is 4-1 going into the bottom of the 4th. You listen to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the bottom of the fourth inning here at Heath High School. Copperheads are trailing 4-1 over the Licking County Settlers as we have a new pitcher in the game. It's Andrew Lyon, the young man who's going to Montreat College to continue playing with Coach TJ Lanning, and the guy who will be traveling back 15 hours to Texas after this game, actually directly after he is done with his inning pitched. He will start his drive out to Texas. That's going to be a long one, but really impressed with his medal to be able to do that, showing a heart of a lion, and he showed the heart of a lion at the mound a couple of times this season. Most notably, there was a big game against the Cincinnati Steam, I believe. It was either the Steam or the Settlers, where the Copperheads needed Lyon to come and do well. I believe it was against the Licking County Settlers in the 11-5 win, and it was a high-pressure situation, and Andrew Lyon was able to play very well, and that was definitely his brightest moment of the season.
And he talked about it after the game, too. He said he did a lot of work in his bullpen sessions and talking with Coach Harris and Coach Lanning. And, you know, they talked to him and said, hey, like, you need to work on this a little bit more. You need to, you know, fix things here and there. And so he went and he put in the work this summer and came out in that performance, played really, really well. We were all sitting in the booth afterwards and just talking about how impressed we were with his performance that game. I believe he had 2 strikeouts in that inning.
It is, and we'll go ahead and confirm that as I'll go and look at my game notes here from that performance. As, yes, it was against the Settlers where he pitched. He had only 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. Yeah, it was a good day. All right, and today Andrew Lyon will go against Caleb Johnson, Dwayne Cope, and Adam Crawford, the designated hitter, the left fielder, and the center fielder, and the 7-8-9 in the lineup here for the Licking County Settlers, trying to build on their lead, not let the Copperheads kind of crawl their way back into it, as Copperheads, of course themed after the Copperhead snake, are trying to be the snake in the grass to the Licking County Settlers. We said that starting when the Copperheads were facing elimination, and it was becoming clear that the Copperheads probably would not be making the playoffs, but the Licking County Settlers started to stake their claim and create some separation in the division, and we knew the Copperheads may have an opportunity to pull off a late-season upset, and they do have their opportunity right here. The count is 2-0 to Johnson as Andrew Lyon sets up on the mound. The lefty pitcher delivers and is not over the plate. It's too high for ball number 3. So the count is 3-0 to Caleb Johnson, one of the newer members of the Licking County Settlers. And we remember his first game in that first doubleheader, and he showed out as he went 2 for 3 in the first game. And now we'll take a 4-pitch walk. So that's already 1 runner aboard for the Settlers as we begin the bottom of the 4th inning.
Talking with Licking County Settlers broadcaster Cade Williamson, I can't imagine the stress that he is under. This game matters probably to him more than just about anybody on this field, potentially. Cade, a very competitive guy, and much like their broadcast team, much like ours. Andrew, the optimist, Cade, the sometimes realist.
What a double play there for the Copperheads as Dwayne Cope grounded it out to Mitch Class. He fielded it on 1 hop, stepped on the bag for the force out at first, throws it with some velocity out there to Maverick Stallings, who's able to pick off the runner, and Caleb Johnson trying to get to second base. That's 2 down in the inning for the Copperheads.
The 3-6 double play, Sedric. Fill out your bingo cards.
We're getting all types of good bingo cards, man. If you have I think we had a 5-4, like a 7-5 yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, we had a 7-5 double play. We've had the 2-5 double play, the strike him out, tag him out double play. I mean, we've had obviously the 5-4-3, the 6-4-3, the 4-6-3, all kinds of bingo card potential.
Now Adam Crawford is up, and the last time he was up, he walked, and then in the reference of double plays, he ended up being retired on a double play of the 4-6-3 variety. You see a lot of 6-4-3s. This time we saw a 4-6-3 as the count is 2-1 with 2 down in the inning thanks to the double play. Copperheads up 4-1 as Andrew Lyon looking to have a shutout inning in his last appearance. Lyon settles, and it's going to be fouled backwards from Crawford. And now the count is evened up. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. in very calm sort of day. People have their tents set up, two tents to be exact. I should make that 3, 4, 5, even more in the outfield. I wasn't even expecting that. That's great.
Probably 45 or 50 fans here watching the Licking County Settlers in their final regular season game. Of course, potential for them to be playing well into next week. I believe, talking with Andrew Allison, the first series of the playoffs begins Monday or Tuesday.
Pop fly, and Maverick Stallings able to run back from his position, having the back of his teammate Mason Nadolny as they both went for it. Nadolny slipped before it, and Maverick Stallings was able to get there. They give each other a fist bump because that's what it means to have your team's back. As the Copperheads yield nothing for the second inning in a row. And when we come back, we'll be in the top of the 5th inning in a game that's chugging along real quick here at Heath High School. You're listening to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the top of the 5th inning here at Heath High School. The Copperheads trail 4-1 as Maverick Stallings will lead off in the inning and take the first pitch up high and outside for ball number 1. As the count is 1-0. With nobody on, we're just getting started here in the top of the 5th as Maverick Stallings takes the second pitch, and that time it hits the outside of the zone as Lazecki picks up the first strike of this inning. It's 1-1 to Maverick Stallings. The 1-1 pitch is over the plate once again. It's 1-2. For Maverick Stallings, and the last time that he was up, he was hit by pitch and then was retired at third base. Boy, was he ever so close of coming around for the run as he fouls off the 1-2 and will remain at 1-2. As Copperheads need 3 to tie up the game, 4 to try to take the lead back, as we'll see a high pop fly that goes foul back towards the trees behind the stadium. As Heath High School, very nice area in Licking County, as you got beautiful trees all around the horizon, all around the ballpark, as the 1-2 pitch will go low for ball number 2. And we've seen so many beautiful ballparks. There's been ones that have been like just nestled in the neighborhoods, and then there's been others that have been more of like in the woods and in the wilderness. As the 2-2 is going to be a deep drive out in the left field. It's going back towards the wall, and that ball is gone. Maverick Stallings with his second Hasta La Vista of the year, and he's showing he got that power.
Nice. Well-hit ball out there to left field. 3-10, taking advantage of the short wall ballpark today. And it's a 4-2 ball game now for Maverick Stallings.
So this is a matchup where you could see a couple of home runs, especially when the ballpark is a little bit smaller. He hit his first one out there in Sandusky, which was a smaller ballpark at Force Field, and he takes advantage of it again. But I have a feeling that would have been very close to being a home run at Bob Wren Stadium, given that the wall about 310, our wall is about 340 feet, and he smoked that ball. It was gone. Trevor Stevens ran out to go get him his home run ball, as we'll see the first pitch to Sebastian Silva fouled backwards, as it is now 4-2.
That one cleared the wall pretty far. Would have been a contested shot out of Bob Wren, but again, there's still fight left in this team.
Of course, as now we see Sebastian Silva barrel one down. It's going into left field, and it is down for a base hit. Wayne Cope fields it on one hop, throws it into the infield, but that's a single for Sebastian Silva. 2 up, 2 hits for the Copperheads, and they have 1 run with nobody down here in the inning. As we get back to the top of the order, as Jordan Long gets ready for his 3rd at-bat.
Sebastian Silva now on base in both plate appearances for him today. Had the single.
Oh, there goes our camera. At least it didn't hit our camera directly, as, again, we've been praying all season long that our webcam does not get hit by a baseball, and fortunately it didn't get hit, but a little bit of the momentum there, as we'll see the 0-1 pitch. Jordan Long takes it, and it's ball number 1, so the count is evened up, 1 down.
Thought that was going to be the one. Sedric, Jordan Long sent it down the line at us.
Now batting for the Copperheads, number 11.
Luckily, not the case.
Yeah, that's always the nightmare scenario with this equipment. Is looking pretty good there. So we can check to make sure we can. He'll get to go against Clayton Hodges, who sets up for his 3rd at-bat as Morrow deals his first pitch, and it is outside and up high for a ball. So the count is 1-0 with 1 runner on. Copperheads trailing 4-2 thanks to some big home run shot from Maverick Stallings, as it was absolutely beautiful going over the left field wall.
And now runs in the 4th and now the 5th inning for the Copperheads. So slowly starting to crawl their way back into this one after going down 4-0 to start the game.
Yeah, it's all about hanging around. Look at what the Ice Haulers did with the Copperheads in the 2nd game of the doubleheader, down 6-1. They just hung around. They didn't give up any more runs. They were able to stop the bleeding, and then the offense and the bats were able to back them up and ultimately get the win, as the Copperheads will try to pull off a big upset. As Andrew Allison and Cade Williamson are good friends. They definitely like to give some jabs to the Copperheads sometimes. In that 2019 season, the Copperheads had really favorable playoff positioning where they only needed 1 more win in their last.
Joey, again, more of a pessimist, like Cade is, like I am sometimes, and could not imagine what was going through Joey's mind during that game. Of course, we watch a lot of football and other sports with Joey, and it's a little fired up sometimes. So.
A little bit is an understatement, yeah. Good friend Joey, also a fellow Ravens fan of mine. Yep. So we always bonded over that aspect as well. And again, definitely one of those guys we'll miss here at Ohio University, as he just graduated and now working for the Baltimore Orioles. So getting to be able to work for his favorite major league team, that's definitely a dream that everybody has.
Absolutely. I believe he's doing game day type stuff, helping with coordinating a lot of the on-field stuff, who's allowed on, who's not allowed on.
And then Connor
Great
Mills
job
also
for him. Yeah.
getting a good
Yeah,
job
Mills
too.
Mills working for is it Fox Sports, isn't it?
It's Scranton Iron Pigs, and
Okay.
then their like radio station and that sort of thing is the 3-2 is outside. That's a walk for Clayton Hodges. So that's 2 runners on. Sebastian Silva on second, Clayton Hodges on first, and that'll bring on Kyle Ratliff, who had a fly out to shortstop where he broke his bat in impressive fashion, and then he had a ground out back in the 4th inning. And we talked about how it's very rare that Kyle Ratliff grounds out. It usually is either a fly out, a strikeout. Those are usually the only 2 ways that it's going to be an out. So it was interesting to see a ground out. Probably it's under in the single digits for ground outs on the season. Is see the first pitch from Morrow go low on a breaking ball, and the count is 1-0.
Yeah, don't quite have the exact advanced stats on that one. They obviously don't have all of the stats that we would, in a perfect world, would love to have. But just like thinking about the way that Kyle Ratliff goes down, you're right. It's either a strikeout or a flyout. Otherwise, this dude's getting on base, leads the team in batting average, 339. We'll go down just a tick after that, but 34 RBIs. Obviously, the 11 franchise-leading home runs, and a really good year, and getting prepared to have a big year at SIUE.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for another Copperhead to ever break that as Junpei Ohashi steps on the bag at third base and is able to get 1 out, and then they're able to turn into a double play as Ohashi has been very solid as a third baseman in all the games that we played against the Licking County Settlers. Another guy that kind of came in mid-season, didn't show up until the second game the Copperheads played against the Settlers at home, and he showed out very well in that game, and he's able to turn the double play. So,
5-3 double play now. Just continuing to come up with new ways to fill out that bingo card. I have to put that on my comment sheet during our postseason meeting about broadcasters next year need to do the bingo card.
Need to, and then maybe post it on Twitter, and maybe some sort of printout or something of that sort would be really cool.
Follow along at home with the broadcasters. Looks like we'll see a couple of position changes. Carson Shepard coming out here to third base, and Mason Nadolny out on the mound.
Let's go. It's going to be very exciting here. So we'll take a very short break, and then we come back. We'll see Mason Nadolny's first appearance on the mound as there'll be some defensive changes when we come back. You listen to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the bottom of the 5th inning here at Heath High School. Copperheads trailing the Settlers 2-4 as we have a new pitcher on the mound, and he is a familiar face.
Mason Nadolny on the mound today for the Copperheads, and had to do a little bit of digging, but we found the pitching stats for Mason Nadolny from his time at Concordia St. Paul this year. A 2-4 record, 12 2/3 innings pitched, 17 hits, 13 runs allowed, 7 strikeouts, and a 9.24 ERA. So Mason Nadolny getting his first crack at it. Hasn't pitched in a baseball game since May 3rd, rather, against Upper Iowa. Went 3 innings in that one, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, and had one strikeout in that one.
Well, it's been quite a while since May 3rd, as it is now July 24th. So we'll see what Mason can do on the mound. He'll have to deal with the batters that are due up, the top of the order, Cade Nellis, Nick Lukac, and Drew Garf. Here in the bottom of the fifth inning, Copper trailing 4-2 after it started off as a 4-1 game. And then in the fifth inning, we saw Maverick Stallings hit a home run to left field. I got super excited for that, as it was awesome being able to see a nice little home run in the last game. Another Hasta La Vista call. We hope to see another Hasta La Vista, hopefully, today, as it looks like the clouds are starting to turn a little gray. Hopefully no rain on the horizon. I did not check the weather report, but it ought to be interesting as we'll look at the weather.
Looks like there is going to be some rain moving in here around 3 o'clock, but not in our direct area from what I'm seeing. Keep saying rain in 25 minutes, but we'll just keep playing it by ear, Sedric. Of course, we here at the Southern Ohio Copperheads, the great improvisers. But if we have to panic and pack up real quick, you'll be the first to know, Copperheads fans.
Of course. It's good that we have a nice little tent, though. We could just kind of bring everything back and hope we don't get any rainwater, as Mason Nadolny's first pitch is a strike.
Big one in there for a swing and a miss. Season high strikeouts in an appearance. April 13th against Minot State had 2 strikeouts in his appearance in that one.
Can he pick up 2 strikeouts today, or dare I say 3? We'll see if he can do that, as the count is 1 ball, 1 strike, if I recall correctly here. Maybe they say no pitch there, so we'll go back to it. If they leave it as 0-1. The 0-1 up high for a ball. So the 0-1 pitch was a ball, and then the other one was a ball. As Andrew Lyon is about to take off.
Care, buddy.
Andrew, thank you for your contributions to the team this year. As he gets a nice hug from Trevor Stevens. As Andrew Lyon, everybody, will be going to Montreat College. So if you follow TJ Lanning, you'll be able to see a lot more of Andrew Lyon. And of course, TJ Lanning, if he comes back to coach here for the Copperheads once again, would not be surprised to see Lyon come back to be a second-year Cheddar. So here we go. It's the 3-1 count to Cade Nellis. Nadolny sets. He deals the righty, and it's a pass ball that goes low. And that's going to end up being ball number 4. So it'll be a walk for Cade Nellis.
Nadolny favoring that lower part of the zone. Maybe packing a little bit too much velocity. We'll see if he can maybe take a bit off. Try and throw something in there. Did get that big swing and a miss on that bottom part of the plate, though. See what he can do here.
His first pitch to Nick Lukac is outside for a ball. We'll see what type of pitches he has in his repertoire as well. We've seen a lot of the fastball early on, and see if he has some breaking balls as well, as the count is 1-0 to Lukac. With 1 runner on, Nadolny delivers, and it's fouled off backwards for a strike. So the count is 1-1. As we saw Cade Nellis try to rush and try to steal, but since the ball was foul, he'll have to go back. And the count is 1-1 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Apologize once again for the scoreboard not having an inning bid. Again, this was the makeshift scoreboard for any emergency situations where it is too hot for technology to run the best. As now Cade Nellis will go. There's the throw. Jordan Long will have it, but it won't be there in time. Cade Nellis is safe. That's a stolen base. But the pitch was thrown in for a ball, so the count is 2-1 to Lukac, with now Nellis on second. It seems like rain may be coming in the next 20 minutes or so, but it doesn't seem like it'll last. But that will add a lot to the humidity going forward in this game. May have a small rain delay of some sort. It should not be longer than 20 minutes or so.
Unless there's lightning, I believe this game will just continue to be played. Can't imagine they'll call this game for just a little bit of rain.
As Cincinnati Steam, even though they are a team themed to water vapor, they are hoping there's no water coming from the sky today, as the Cincinnati Steam need this game to be played and this game to be finished in order for them to make the playoffs. If the Copperheads can beat the Licking County Settlers and the Cincinnati Steam take care of business against the Hamilton Joes, which is no easy task in the first place, they will make the playoffs, as that'll be another walk for Nick Lukac. So Lukac reaches on a walk. Caden Ellis also reached on a walk and then stole second base. And now Drew Garf will be up, and he has a run on the day as he reached on an error and then also grounded out into a fielder's choice.
Drew Garth, big time power hitter, hitting 307.
Yep, and there's a power hit all the way out to right field. Ratliff tracks it at the track, makes the catch. There's the tag. Nellis coming into third base. The throw, not in time, as Caden Nellis just makes it in the nick of time, and he's on third base. So a productive out for Drew Garf.
Nellis probably should have slid in to third on that one. Kyle Ratliff put it on a frozen rope right to the glove of Carson Shepard, who was, just about a tenth of a second away from tagging Nellis there. As he kind of came in standing up, didn't see that throw come in.
So there's runners on the corners. With one down in the inning, Mason Nadoni will pitch here to Ben Kaplan, who has a single and a strikeout. And it looks like the runner will go, and there's no throw. I think that is a pretty solid move there from Sebastian Silva, as Course Nellis, he's got a little bit of speed on the base paths. He would have had a chance to be able to steal home potentially if the throw would have been off the mark.
We saw that bite the Copperheads yesterday. It was a throwdown to second base with a runner on third. Runner ultimately scored on the throwing error as it kind of fell out of Maverick Stallings' glove. Runner able to come across, and that started the big inning for the Ice Haulers.
1-1 is inside for ball number 2. The count is 2-1 to Ben Kaplan here in the bottom of the fifth inning with runners both in scoring position. Nellis at third, Nick Lukac at second. We'll see the 2-1 pitch from Nadolny. Takes a breath, deals the pitch, and it is inside and low for ball number 3. So it's 3 balls, 1 strike here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Copperheads looking for win number 16 on the season. Licking County looking for win number 22, as well as home field advantage throughout the playoffs in the South Division. As the 3-1 does go inside just barely, just missing the zone, and that'll be a walk. So the bases are juiced here for the Licking County Settlers, and they'll look to cash in with Junpei Ohashi, who has a single, an RBI, and a strikeout to his name.
Number 3, Junpei Ohashi.
Got the walkout music of jump, 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 jump. How perfect. As we'll see, the first pitch to Ohashi swung on and missed for strike number 1.
2 other games going on around the league. Obviously, the Joes and the Steam game. That game starting at 6:05, and then the Jetbox and Royal Oak Leprechauns both finishing up their season as the North Division already decided. The Michigan Monarchs clinching the best record in the division, and I believe best record in the league at 23 and 15.
Yep, and that ball will get through. Junpei Ohashi comes through, and now Clayton Hodges has some trouble with the ball. Both Nick Lukac and Caden Ellis both come across the plate. It is now a 6-2 ball game as Junpei Ohashi delivers, picking up his 3rd RBI of the day on a little bit of a chopper that went right in between second base and shortstop. Maverick Stallings and Jordan Long weren't able to converge on that one.
Great day for Junpei Ohashi, who is responsible for 3 of the 6 runs for the Settlers today.
So Ben Kaplan is on second. Junpei Ohashi, who has a single and a ground out. And now we'll see the first pitch there. And it was thrown for a ball, so the count is 1-0. The 1-0 to White is up high for ball number 2. So it's 2 balls, no strikes. Mason Adoni tries to shake off the rust here. Copperheads trail 6-2. And when we did the score update, Tim, I think for the league as a whole, it'd be more entertaining for them if the Hamilton Joes and the Cincinnati Steam game ends up being for the playoff spot. So they're hoping the Copperheads can pull off the upset.
Big-time game down there in Hamilton. Or actually, I believe it's in Cincinnati. Yeah, it is. In Cincinnati for that last spot. So all eyes on the league, or all eyes in the league right now on this game And then following our game, they'll just shift right down 71 over to Cincinnati.
Yeah, and a lot of Copperheads will be down there in Cincinnati for the Kings Island Days. We'll see a high pop fly going into left field, and Maverick Stallings able to make the catch, kind of shifting back from his infield position and doing some work in the outfield. The lower part of the outfield, almost known as no man's land, Maverick Stallings is being adamant about making those catches.
He and Bam Thomas both rushing in on it.
Number 9, Caleb Johnson.
So Logan White flies out to shortstop, and that'll bring on Caleb Johnson. So with 2 down in the inning and 2 runners on, Junpei Ohashi on first, Ben Kaplan at second, Nadani will try to close out the side as he pitches to Johnson, who swings and misses there. He went for a big swing. That would have ended up being a line drive if he connected, but it did not. It's 0-1. The 0-1 up high for ball number 1 is, I believe, Sam Maudsley has joined us, and he asked if there were any good baseball players on the staff. And Trevor Stevens replied no. Interesting.
Hasn't seen my 12-6 curveball then.
Yeah, I think he's trying to shred as Ben Johnson hits it right out to Carson Shepard at third base. Shepard delivers it with some velocity, and Mitch Class with the stretch is able to retire the side. So the Copperheads do yield 2, but they are down by 4 as there's a couple innings left as we go into the top of the 6th for the Copperheads to try to build their comeback as they trail the Settlers 6-2. You're listening to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the top of the 6th inning here at Heath High School. The Copperheads trail 6-2 as Mason Nadoni, the man who just pitched an inning, will lead off as you saw Coach T.J. Lanning give a nice little wave to the camera, man of the people, as the first pitch from Austin Morrow is going to be inside and low for ball number 1. The count is 1-0, nobody on, nobody out. Copperheads with 3 hits, Settlers with 5 as Morrow sets, he deals. And it's going to be hit right down Broadway. It's going to be Caden Ellis fielding it on the backside of his glove and delivering it out to first base. Logan White makes the catch. That's out number 1 as the Copperheads go down.
Don't want to bring up the past, but Coach Lanning and I, possibly disappointing, some people might say, performance last night against or at the hot dog eating contest. I was only able to get down about 2.5 of the foot-long dogs. I went for the dunk approach, and it just didn't go my way.
And as I also heard, the hot dogs were a little bit on the colder side. They didn't have them like fresh off the heater and everything.
Not fresh off the press. Still decent dogs. Of course, you can't go wrong with a Larry's Doghouse dog, but a little bit cold.
Yeah, and again, no matter what, you always want the. I mean, it's a hot dog. It's not a cold dog.
Yeah, probably should have opted for the ketchup option, as the guy next to me from OU Athletics, I believe Jake was his name, he went for the catch-up approach, and he did really well. Had three of the dogs. But by the time I got through those first two, and I was kind of dragging a little bit on that last half dog that I was able to get down.
It was thoroughly entertaining, the calls. Carson Shepard's going to chop that one right over to Nick Lukac at shortstop, throws it out to Logan White, and that's 2 down in the inning. Again, the hot dog eating contest, that was the first time I ever got to call a hot dog eating contest. My friend James was on the call for it as well, doing some color. And again, we were rooting for you hard. You had a little bit of a fan club who were going, let's go, Tim. Let's go, Tim, up there near the press box. And
well, my roommate and a couple of our friends came out to support the Cheds yesterday, and they were getting ready to leave, and they sent me a text, and they're like, hey, we're getting ready to leave. And I was like, you guys can't leave, because it was like the 7th inning and getting ready to go home. And I was like, well, you guys can't leave yet. I said, I'm eating in the hot dog contest after the game. And they're like, all right, I guess we'll stay. Okay. Fantastic.
Fantastic
so I
indeed.
had a little fan club up there. Of course, Ethan showed me some love on the PA as well.
Bam Thomas is now up, dealing with an 0-1 count, as it was very, very entertaining yesterday. I mean, not only a Copperheads win, but also hot dog eating contest as Bam Thomas skies it out into left field, where Wayne Cope flashes the leather, makes the catch, and that's 3 runners up, 3 runners down to retire the side for the Copperheads, who still trail 6-2 going into the bottom of the 6th inning. You're listening to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the bottom of the 6th inning here at Heath High School, and now pitching for the Southern Ohio Copperheads, second baseman Jordan Long, as he has a 0 ERA on the year, and he's going to look to keep that going, as he's pitched in emergency situations a couple of times this year against the Cincinnati Steam. All the pitchers that were due to pitch in the game were through, and they still had one more inning to go, and Jordan Long was able to come in, finish it off. Same thing happened against the Xenia Scouts, the only game that the Copperheads lost to the Scouts this year. Jordan Long was able to come in and make sure that they didn't have to use any more arms that day, keep some extra guys for some of the other games, and keep more personnel.
Had 2 appearances on the year, 1 1/3 total innings. Of course, the 0 ERA, something he's very proud of, and has picked up a strikeout in both appearances. He gets a big swing there.
Already 1 strike, as Jordan Long will work against Wayne Cope. Wayne Cope has a walk and he has a run scored. He also hit into the old 3-6 double play.
A classic.
Dwayne Cope laces that one out into center field. Clayton Hodges fields it off at the ground, delivers it into the infield, and that's a base runner. As Dwayne Cope reaches the base and gets his first hit of the day here in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's a 9-inning affair. We've seen a lot of 7 innings as of recently, having that doubleheader on Friday. But yeah, we're back to 9 innings like yesterday. As Adam Crawford, the 9th batter in this lineup, will work with 1 runner on.
You get so used to the 7-inning game, or you get so used to the 9-inning games, and then you play a 7-inning game. You play a couple 7-inning games in a row usually, and then all of a sudden you remember that the 9-inning games drag a little bit longer.
The 1-0 is going to be a high fly ball going out to left field. Bam Thomas underneath it and makes the catch. 1 down.
Good throw back in. Hold Dwayne Cope at first base.
Now in comes the top of the order. It's Cade Nellis. Cade Nellis, the last time he was up, he walked. But on his total on the day, he has a fly out to left field, hit into a 4-6-3 double play, and walked, and then was able to get all the way around and scored off of a Junpei Ohashi. Dwayne Cope thinks about it, and it'll be a balk.
Tough break for Jordan Long. Came set already, moved out of that motion, or never came set, rather.
And there's some smiles there. The ump smiles, Jordan Long smiling, Dwayne Cope smiling as well. All smiles here. Again, at the end of the day, it's a game that's all about fun, and these guys are having fun as Jordan Long, the position player, sets up on the mound, delivers the pitch. It's low. Dwayne Cope takes advantage, and he steals third base.
Got a bit ahead of himself, I think, on that. That's why everybody was kind of laughing. As Jordan Long, of course, not a pitcher by trade, middle infielder. So not quite all the way set on, the techniques and the rules of pitching.
It is, and I theorize a lot of these guys were pitchers. Is to make it to a college level of baseball, you got to be very talented. A lot of these guys are talented in so many different ways that it's like out in football, you might have guys who are multi-position players going both ways. You have guys in basketball that might be able to play any of the 5 positions on the court. And in baseball, you have guys that can be pitchers as well as be really exceptional position players.
Well, I was just talking to Sam Maudsley during the break and talking about this gives feels of like the old school Little League days where, we saw Mason Nadolny come in and pitch, and then all of a sudden he was the leadoff hitter. He pitched his inning. He's the leadoff hitter. Now he's back at third base. So a bit of a Little League feel today. Guys coming in straight off the field, getting a couple warm-up pitches, and then going out to pitch on the mound. So always fun to see that, a little bit different than your traditional.
2-2's right to Carson Shepard. Carson Shepard fields it, throws it to Mitch Class, but a run is given up as Jordan Long has finally given up a run this season as Dwayne Cope comes across on the sacrifice hit. But the Copperheads at least able to turn one.
Not going to be happy about that one, Long. A very competitive guy. Very proud of his stuff, and I know that run coming across something he's not going to be very happy about. Wanted to keep that perfect 0 ERA. But still pitching really well. 2 full innings of work.
It was the first pitch to Nick Lukac for a ball. Now the second pitch is over the plate for a strike. That count is 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs with nobody on. Bases are empty. Stands aren't empty, though, as there's a couple of people. As we'll see the 1-1 to Lukac, who swings, and it's going to get into the infield. Maverick Stalling fields it on 2 hops, delivers it to Mitch Class, and that retires the side. So Jordan Long gives up 1, but still pretty impressive showing on the season for his pitching totals. As the Copperheads are down 7-2, as I'll update that scoreboard. And we'll come back with the 7th inning. You're listening to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. We've made it into the final 3 innings of this 2022 Copperheads season. The Copperheads trail the Licking County Settlers 2-7 going into the top of the 7th. Due up this inning, it'll be Mitch Class, Maverick Stallings, and Sebastian Silva, as Mitch Class will go against Austin Morrow, who kicks and deals, and it is over the plate for strike number 1. So count is 0-1 to Mitch Class. Mitch Class has a pair of ground outs. This is the 3rd time around the order here for the Southern Ohio Copperheads. Morrow sets, delivers. Mitch Class does not swing, but the ball goes over the plate. That's 2 quick strikes. Like the sun continues to peek through some of the gray rain clouds that have been around here as Morrow tries for strike number 3, delivers. It's up high for ball number 1.
I think we avoided the ring, too. It kind of blew past us a little bit.
The 1-2 on its way, and it does miss outside. It's ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Top of the 7th inning, Copperheads down 2-7. 2 runs on the day for the Copperheads were scored from Mason Nadolny off of an error and Maverick Stallings off of a solo shot, as we see a swing and miss there from Mitch Class. He goes down on strikes. That's 1 out in the inning, and that'll bring on Maverick Stallings. To the last time he was up, he had a home run. He's having one of his best days of the season, 1 for 1 with a hit by pitch. Has reached 3rd and then came across the base path on his solo shot on the day. So very productive, and he'll look to stay productive against Morrow, as Morrow sets, deals, and it is high and inside for ball number 1. As this is Morrow's first try at Maverick Stallings. Maverick Stallings hit that home run off of Lazecki, who had a pretty solid start going 4 1/3. And now Morrow is trying to be a good reliever, not give up any runs. He has not yet to this point, as he's thrown 2 pitches, both been balls. It's 2-0. Wind speeds have picked up significantly here. It's coming from right field, blowing towards us as Maverick Stallings' hit goes out. Oh, it looks like, again, the number might have switched, as this is Magnus. So I want to apologize to any Settlers fan listening, as 13 used to be Austin Morrow, and it looks like he may have left the team, and then they may have had a new number 13 come in and do that. Let me just go back to my roster.
Please return all foul balls to the Settlers dugout. Thank you.
Yep, Gavin Mangus. So he's the new number 13 taking the jersey. Did not have him listed with the number. So thanks, Tim, for that correction.
I was looking at it, and I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't look like Morrow. And then I wondered if they changed pitchers, and we just didn't see it.
As Maverick Stallings unloads one and is down for a base hit in left field. And no, they're going to say it was just foul. And it looks like there'll be a lot of chirps from the Copperheads dugout, as I kind of agree. I thought that was fair. We do have a replay. Trevor, hey, you're mentioning it. They said there is a replay, and we do have a replay up in here. Unfortunately, we don't have any camera down the third base line, so I don't think it would do much good. Count is evened up. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out in this inning. Gavin Mangus, not Austin Morrow, is on the mound. Settlers are one of those teams, they've had a lot of turnover with the rosters. Lots of guys only able to spend a month with the team or so, and they've been able to rotate guys through, as the 2-2 is going to be laced in between third base and shortstop and into the outfield. That's a single for Maverick Stallings. He's having one of the best days of his Copperhead career.
Yeah, ending the season on a high note for Maverick Stallings. Obviously, he hit the first one down the line, and probably was fair, but home plate umpire said foul, and then he just turns around and puts another one in pretty much the same spot.
Another player playing well is Sebastian Silva, who has a walk and a single, and then was out on a part of a 5-3 double play. Another one you don't see every day. So the count is 1-0 to Sebastian Silva with 1 runner on in Maverick Stallings. In the top of the 7th inning on the last game of the season, Copperheads looking for win number 16. Settlers looking to lock themselves up in the playoff race with win number 22. They stand at 21-16. Very solid record in such a competitive league. Count is evened up, 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Copper trailing 2-7. Top of the 7th is Mangus deals, and it's going to be chopped right into the infield. Lukac, he does a little pitch out to Nellis, and then Nellis is not able to complete the double play as Logan White drops the ball. So Silva is safe on the fielder's choice, and Maverick Stallings goes down.
Let's see how they officially score that. Looks like they will score an error on the Licking County Settlers.
So Silva reaches now on an E3. Maverick Stallings goes down on a 6-4. And now with 2 down in the inning, we will see Jordan Long. Jordan Long just coming off of an inning pitched. He'll look to do it on both sides like Shohei Ohtani.
Getting to see everybody get a crack at it today. Saw Clayton Hodges starting to get warmed up. Looks like his inning will be that 7th inning, or the bottom of the 7th, rather, coming up.
1-0 is inside. So now the count is 2-0 to Jordan Long with 2 gone in the inning. 1 runner on in Sebastian Silva.
Curious how the roster will reflect what's going on with the pitching change. Obviously, Jordan Long staying in the game, so he'll be out in the field. But with Shepard playing second, curious if Jordan Long will move out to the outfield with Clayton Hodges coming in to pitch.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see it as the Copperheads have had as many pitchers as there have been innings in this game, and that trend will continue when Clayton Hodges comes out here to start the bottom of the 7th inning. But for now, we're in the top of the 7th inning with only 1 down. Actually, correct that. It's 2 down in the inning. Mitch Class went out, and then Maverick Stallings was picked off. So it's 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, as we'll see the 2-2 pitch as Mangus tries to get out of the inning. The 2-2 is up high, so now the count is full. We're going to see a payoff pitch coming here at Heath High School. Home to the Bulldogs, a team I did for Gridiron Glory with WOUB, and really enjoyed working with Coach Tim Ward and everybody at Heath. Really nice community, great place to grow up in, great school to go to as well here in Licking County. We'll see the 3-2. Silva goes. Jordan Long is going to have a high pop fly out in the right field. Drew Garf running for it. Drew Garf dives. He's not able to make the catch. Sebastian Silva is able to go and make it to third base as he thought about going home, but Garf was able to get the throw out after the mistake there. So Copperhead's able to benefit, and they'll stay alive in the inning with runners on the corners. Jordan Long reaches.
Good job by Long. Again, put that in the no man's land area. Clayton Hodges.
Good work by Silva, too, on the base paths to get a nice little head start. We're about to get into our 2nd hour, or actually 3rd hour of play. Clayton Hodges, who's due up to pitch, is also due up to bat now as he enters the batter's box. And Mangus delivers his first pitch, and it'll be a high pop fly. Will it stay in the infield? It looks like it will. That's out number 3 as Clayton Hodges skies it back to the catcher. And that's going to retire the side. Ben Kaplan with the catch. So the Copperheads lead them on 1st and 3rd. And when we come back in the bottom of the 7th inning, we will have Clayton Hodges. But before that, we will have the 7th inning stretch at Heath High School. You're listening to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube.
number 7 will be
We will start the bottom of the 7th inning with this. Now pitching for the Southern Ohio Copperheads, Clayton Hodges. For the first time this season, we see Clayton Hodges on the mound, especially thankful to a lot of his family members who've been big fans of the broadcast and have been great. Of course, his grandfather being able to give us the radar gun just based off of a passing comment, one of the highlights of this year, and it's been phenomenal. We've loved having the radar gun as an extra tool to use for our broadcast. And again, we salute you, Grandpa Hodges. And now we'll salute Clayton Hodges as he gets his first chance on the mound. As Tim, you hearken the similarities to this being like a 12U game.
Yeah, I've talked about it a little bit. But, you know, you see the guy come out and pitch, and then, or Mason, what I talked about Mason Adoni, actually. He pitched the inning, and then he was the leadoff batter, and then the inning right after that, he came out and played third base. So, takes me back to the 12U days, or even when I was coaching over there in Alexander Youth League last summer. Would have our pitchers would hit. Obviously, we didn't have a designated hitter in 12U baseball, so one of our better pitchers used to hit third for us.
So Licking County Settlers, you're in the bottom of the 7th with 7 runs. We'll look to either close out the game with 5 runs in this inning, or we'll look to close out the game throughout the last couple as Drew Garf will have his first at-bat of the inning, and he'll swing and miss there for strike number 1. Drew Garf has reached on an error and scored a run, then hit into a fielder's choice, and then had a fly out to right field as Drew Garf is now down 0-1 as Clayton Hodges starts off his plate appearance really well, make that his mound appearance really well, but the second pitch goes off the mark for ball number 1. So the count is 1-1. Copper is trailing 7-2 as the Settlers had 3 runs in the opening inning. Nick Lukac, Drew Garf, Ben Kaplan all scoring. And then we see the 1-1 pitch off the mark once again. It's 2-1. Wayne Cope scored in the second inning to give them a 4-0 lead. And the Copperheads struck back with Mason Nadani scoring off of an error to make it a 4-1 ball game. Then the Copperheads up the ante a little bit in the 6th inning. Or make that the 5th inning as Maverick Stallings hit a home run to left field to make it 4-2. And then the Settlers started to flex their muscles a little bit more and were able to get a couple more runs on the board in the 5th and 6th innings as Drew Garf will foul off the 2-1, and it'll be 2-2. And Wayne Cope reached in the 6th inning, as well as Cade Nellis and Nick Lukac was able to reach home plate. And that's how we're at 7-2 at Heap High School. Licking County plays all over Licking County League as Clayton Hodges picks up his first strikeout of the day, and it is a looking variety as he got Drew Garf.
I was just looking up Clayton Hodges' college stats. Didn't have any pitching stats down there in Jacksonville this season, but have to bring the tape to their coach down there and see if we can get him on the mound down there at JU.
Copperheads doing a little bit better on the strikeout front as some of the positional players have been able to pick up strikeouts as Copperheads only had 1 strikeout the last time they were here at Heath High School. And they've shown some improvement on that front today as Clayton Hodges will now face off against Ben Kaplan, who's had a single, a strikeout, and a walk. 1 for 2 with that walk. And it was a pretty solid day in his own right. 2-0. Is thrown in for a strike. So the count is 2-1 to Ben Kaplan. As Tim, after this game, looks like our tent's flying away as that was a nice catch. As we do have it stapled down, the wind speeds are quite high. As after this game, what I was trying to say is the couple of players on the Copperheads, Dylan Horner and Kyle Ratliff, will represent the Copperheads at NBC4. As shout out to Ben, the NBC4 reporter. And see a little bit of a nod from the third base coach of the Licking County Settlers to Tim Hanna. He's working the damage control as the 3-2 pitch is thrown in for strike number 3. That's 2 strikeouts for Clayton Hodges.
Have a day, Clayton. 2 strikeouts on the day. Gets one looking, gets one swinging. And already impressed with this performance today from Clayton Hodges.
Yeah, he might earn himself another inning to pitch. Who knows? Who knows? As Junpei Ohashi comes back up, who's been the most successful batter on the day and has been able to pick up a lot of RBIs, 3 of them to be exact, 1 on a sac fly, 1 on a 2 RBI single. And now he takes 1 hit to the left shoulder, and he'll reach.
I can't escape the announcer's jinx, can I, Sedric? I just talked about how good Clayton Hodges has been today. Now all of a sudden, as soon as I get done saying that, he hits Junpei Ohashi.
There we go. We might have seen our last announcer's jinx of the year. Maybe, maybe. Question mark, question mark. But once again, also GM Charlie Clegg will be representing the Southern Ohio Copperheads to NBC4, as it's going to be very exciting to see that. As again, we're very thankful to a lot of the Columbus TV stations to give some love to what's going down here in the smaller town of Athens. As we have a new batter, it looks like, coming in. It looks like it's number 25. Let's hope the numbers I have in this list are correct, as we may have to just check the actual roster as opposed to my roster that I made by hand back in game number 1. As looks like, Tim, would you have number 25? It's Drew Furshaw. Yep, Drew Furshaw. We've seen him in a couple matchups this season. So Drew Furshaw steps into the game. He is in there for Logan White. He'll play first base. Takes the first pitch. That's over the plate for strike number 1. Is Tim, have we had a hidden ace on the team that we haven't gotten to utilize as a pitcher this whole time?
I think we have, Sedric. Throwing a little bit different speed, probably. I don't have the numbers. They're down there with the gun. We'll have to get them when they come back. But
runner goes. There's the throw. It's not in time. Junpei Ohashi makes it and picks up the stolen base. Count is 1-1. So Hodges on the mound. The righty delivers the pitch, and it goes just outside the plate for ball number 2. As that one looked from our angle like a strike, but our angle is very much skewed as the wind speeds have picked up substantially. They are very, very strong winds, and it is going to be behind the batters if they go to left field. Kyle Ratliff is due up in the next inning. That could help his case as well, as we'll see if he can get one step closer to the home run record, as he only have 1 more at bat, potentially 2 more at bats, depending on how the Copperheads do, to try to at least tie the record. Maybe some extra innings could allow him to break it. Drew Furshaw swings and misses at the 2-2. Count him up. 3 strikeouts for Clayton Hodges. Clayton Hodges does a little shrug right there. Gets some love from the third base coach of the Settlers, and he's going to get some cheers coming in to the Copperhead dugout. Copperheads yield nothing in the 7th inning, and as we go into the top of the 8th, we'll see Kyle Ratliff, Mason Adolny, and Carson Shepard, the 3, 4, 5 in the lineup. You're listening to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. We have reached the 8th inning here at Heath High School. Copperheads trailing 2-7 over the Licking County Settlers, or behind the Licking County Settlers, rather. And there's a new pitcher on the mound for the Licking County Settlers, Bryson Bell, and he'll have no easy task working against Kyle Ratliff, as he'll deliver the first pitch, and it is outside for a ball, as the wind is quite strong, and it is going towards left field, a place where Kyle Ratliff likes to hit his home run. So he'll have some wind in his sails in what could potentially be his last at-bat as the 1-0 up high and outside for ball number 2, as it seems like very few pitchers have thrown him things that he wants as of lately. And Bryson Bell will try to figure it out here as the count is 2-0. Good deal. Down low and outside, 3 pitches, 3 balls. The 3-0 to Ratliff. Swung on and missed for strike number 1. That was a good pitch, though, that was able to at least give Ratliff a chance. And at this point in the season, nothing to do but swing for the fences. Trying to keep increasing that home run total with 11, a very impressive season. And he's been the best players on this team, been a great leader. As the 3-1 is going to be a deep drive out into right field, and it looks like it'll fall short of the wall, as it will, as Drew Garth makes the catch, 1 down, as that may be the last at-bat for Kyle Ratliff, depending on what happens. But nevertheless, what a great season for Ratliff.
Historic season for the franchise. Obviously, will forever have his name in the record books here in Athens. Franchise home run leader. And if that record is any foreshadowing to things to come, Kyle Ratliff's going to have a great future ahead of him. Of course, the record he was previously set by Blaine Krim, who now plays AA ball in the Rangers organization. So, big things to come for Mr. Kyle Ratliff. And should be set to have a great season up there at SIUE.
The 2-0 is off the mark. So the count is actually make that on the mark, rather. 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out, as Bell try to deliver here, the 2-1. It's going to be chopped right over to third base. Junpei Ohashi has some issues trying to cover it, but it was foul. And all we see is TJ Lanning just try to call it fair, make his argument, make his case, but to no avail. Licking County Settlers in good position here to make the playoffs. If they do win today and finish off the Copperheads, they will be the #1 seed and will have home field advantage for the first round of the playoffs. As in this league, only 2 teams make the playoffs, and I heard Trevor Stevens telling me that they might expand the playoffs a little bit, get some more teams in, also include some more teams as well, as the GLSCL will try to continue growing, as you see a lot of teams switching in and out